Hello everybody, you're welcome back again to the Reggae Appreciation Society. In the wonderful history of Jamaican music, there have been plenty of youngsters who made their mark on the genre before they were even old enough to vote. From the Crown Prince of Reggae himself, Dennis Brown, to Bob Marley's protege, Nadine Sutherland, and Wonder Boy, Hugh Mundell. But one of my all-time favorite child prodigies was the superbly gifted Billy Boyo that the world came to know as Billy Boyo, a microphone magician that drove audiences wild with his poise, witty lyrics, and the unrivaled charisma of a veteran 3 times his age. Though just a teenager, he was known to mesmerize the living daylights out of his fans, including grown women who would scream their lungs out at his live shows, sometimes to the annoyance of the menfolk. His magnetic swagger and natural boyish charm was so powerful that it almost got him into trouble when a literal gang of angry men had had enough of their ladies pining over this talented, cheeky teenager and formed a mob to deal with him. It would take quick thinking, street smarts, and a whole lot of luck for his crew to save him from what might have been a fatal event. The amazing Billy Boyo was born in Kingston in 1969 and fell in love with the powerful sound system culture, which was at its very peak during his coming of age years in the 70s. He would develop a huge passion for toasting like all the amazing DJs that he witnessed while growing up, and began to play around with rapping to the kids in his neighborhood. By the age of 11 in 1980, every single person in his community just knew that he was a talent with the potential to be one of Jamaica's big stars in what was the dawn of dancehall's emergence as #1 sound on the island. In what was a spectacular case of good fortune, his older sister, Rosemary Rowe, just happened to be dating one of the main architects of dancehall's takeover. He walked in on young Billy freestyling one day in their family's living room and recognized the generational talent he was witnessing. This boyfriend was none other than the great Henry John Joe Laws, the Don of the Volcano Crew. The man literally put dancehall on the global map with his crew of eventual legends like Yellow Man, Barrington Levy, Ika Mouse, and Coco T, among others. He would add Billy to this elite crew, and instead of being overwhelmed by the insane quality there, he would sparkle under the pressure at what was the tender age of 12, all thanks to his expert timing, witty lyrics, and an aura that made him a delight to watch at live shows. By 1982, John Joe had produced several hit songs for Billy, like One Spliff a Day and The Fabulous, The Good, The Ugly, and The Bad. His music had caught on in Britain, and that same year followed Ika Mouse on a major tour of that country. And that visit was a hit, as there was lots of buzz around the Volcano Crew's music. But the surprise star of the crew during that visit was Billy Boyo. For a start, he was the first kid reggae star to set foot on UK soil, and was a phenomenon on the microphone, and most remarkably, he was a serious magnet for the girls. Very charismatic, a smooth talker, and a fashion icon. Aside from his 13-year-old voice and stature, his whole person and style was like that of a grown man, and the ladies flocked to his shows all over England just to watch him, always decked out in sharp Clark's desert boots with colourful sportswear or an immaculate set of suit, tie and pants, with a hat, and complete with his trademark giant onyx-plated gold chain with his initials BB all over it. The kid caused havoc everywhere he went, and in one particular show towards the end of that tour, everything would go sideways and got very dangerous for the youngster. To cash in on Billy's huge appeal and draw, a promoter in Huddersfield, a town 200 miles away from London, had booked Billy alone to perform at a popular West Indian social club called Silver Sands. This promoter would hire a London sound system called the Small Axe to back Billy up with instrumentals and to bring him to Huddersfield to perform. So on the evening of that show, the Silver Sands venue was packed to its limit, with young ladies making up a large proportion of the whole crowd. Literally dripping with youthful bravado, magnetic Jamaican swagger, and rude boy elegance, he delivered a whirlwind performance that lit up the entire dance hall. He had the whole audience eating out of his hand, but to the ladies, they weren't just watching the performer do his thing, but were drawn into Billy's web of effortless charm, rhythmic flow, and his irresistible innocent looks. And by the time his show was done, the women were spellbound, and the men very salty and jealous. As is normal after shows, Billy and the Small Axe crew were chilling backstage and winding down after a sizzling show, and signing autographs for what was an endless stream of starstruck ladies. A particular woman in her late 20s had come backstage with her boyfriend for an autograph. But after getting it signed, this woman stayed there to chat with Billy for far much longer than her boyfriend was comfortable with. But according to eyewitnesses, when the lady's boyfriend told her it was time to leave, she brushed him off and shooed him away. In response, that jealous boyfriend barked at Billy to stay away from his girlfriend and aggressively held his girlfriend's arm and tried to pull her out of the dressing room in a way that shocked the Small Axe crew. Now, to be clear, the Small Axe sound system operating out of Stockwell Park in Brixton, South London, had a reputation of being the most intimidating sound crew on British soil. A posse of hard men and brawlers that were no strangers to violence and were led by its terrifying founder, Keith Preddy, aka Keithy Axe. Their job that night was to back Billy during his show and also to protect him, and they jumped into action when they saw that jealous boyfriend threatening him. So Keithy Axe, his roadie Wayne Rowe, selector Billy Lilly, and a fourth member of their crew grabbed the man by his arms and legs and tossed him out of that dressing room right back into the crowd. The angry boyfriend was well known in Huddersfield and told his friends everything that just happened. In a matter of minutes, the word had spread in the club that Billy Boyo had not only charmed the living daylights out of all their girlfriends, but was chatting up one backstage after her boyfriend had been roughed up and tossed out. They began to pick up sticks, chains, and any other crude weapon they could find and began to push their way backstage to the dressing room. Seeing what was brewing, the show promoter ran in before them, locked the door, and told Billy and the crew that the crowd was armed and about to break in on them for revenge. As said earlier, the Small Axe crew were no strangers to violence, and their leader, Keithy Axe, calmly brought out a big bag that was full of heavy wooden pickaxe handles, which he handed out to his crew members and ready to go to war. But luckily, there was a hidden underground hatch that led down to an emergency exit by the car park. The Small Axe crew grabbed Billy and fled down through the hatch as the crowd began to tear down the heavy dressing room door and storming in to look for them. As they sprinted to their car, someone outside that saw them ran in and told the mob that Billy Boyo was escaping. The mob burst out of the emergency exit and the main exit just in time to see Billy and the Small Axe crew speeding off into the night and onto the highway back to London. It had been a very close shave, and only Jah knows what would have happened if that mob had laid hands on them. A week later, that tour came to an end and the Volcano Crew left Britain for Jamaica. Billy Boyo made a huge splash on that tour and was so popular over there that he was flown in the next year by a UK label called Silver Camel to come and record his first solo album, Zim Zim, the next year. The album Zim Zim was a scorcher that unfortunately didn't get released for almost 20 years and only came out in 2002, a whole 2 years after Billy Theophilus Rowe passed away from a brain tumor at the age of 31. An amazing artist and prime example of one that didn't fulfill his potential due to a combination of factors, but will always be remembered as one of the all-time great dancehall DJs despite what was a very short career. So there you have it. Thank you for watching this video today. Please leave a like, subscribe, and until next time, Jah bless.